to everyone. And there's pain in that because we have different understandings. And that kind of healing takes honest expression. It takes the willingness to hold people accountable and to do it with love and compassion. And sometimes it's really hard to do that. It's easier sometimes not to engage. You know, I mean, we take a risk and let you know we were once attacked in this very church. And while our elder was praying in Mi'kmaq, and it's been really tough not to be that way, or ourselves, you know, not to respond in kind, and to have done that all this time. And just recently, after decades, it's happening where people are holding us in love. So we are really grateful to be here today. We have a lot of pain today because of everything that has happened. And, you know, going to Plymouth recently and going to the Tidmarsh land and seeing the opulence and the tourist stuff going on in that area. Here we are, we're having Thanksgiving, we're thinking about these things. When I went by, I could just see the impact of the taking. It was really painful to go there. And then there was the beauty of the 600 acres of land and all the rocks. It was going back to the way it was once before colonization. We are doing that in Greenfield. We are really grateful for what Greenfield is doing in the world of greening, of locavores, looking at the local plants, and the willingness to open our hearts and learn the history of the area. But beyond knowing that is the unknowing in here. We are to recognize that when we do things, we're accountable for the things we do and say, and for the hurt and harm it causes. And then those of us who have been hurt, we need to be able to let the pain flow to Mother Earth and go with what we need to do to be in beauty with each other. Because you're all beautiful as I watch and look. And I didn't know exactly what I was going to say today, but I just want to say we're all in it. And we're all in it in gratitude for all the lessons, and that maybe we listen to each other with open hearts to everything we need to say, to acknowledge the pain and its source, to really at that place, you know, like all these symbols, like I think about the yin yang, you know, at the place where it comes together, the negative and the positive. Right in that space is where we are right now, all of us. Because when you look around, you see that brave people who have been harmed, who speak, they end up being traumatized over and over again. I'm thinking about the woman that came out and spoke, you know, when a certain Supreme Court person was nominated. She had nothing to gain by doing that. She did it for all of us. And yet this man was put there. And then when you look at who was our president there for a while, who had done harm, who had harmed women, nonetheless, he not only got elected, he pardoned others. Think about all the children and what they're learning. And when they see all this anger and they see all this hate spewed every day, we're just grateful that we're here, right here, all of us right now. We're working to undo all that damage. It's a lot. So we're grateful for each other, for the work we put into it. No matter how hard it is, we just acknowledging how hard it is, that we're working together as best we can. And we will make mistakes with each other. And if you eventually get to a place where we can let that flow through, because in the end, we need to forgive. This is our survivor mantra here. We need to survive. We need to forgive the Creator. We need to forgive ourselves, and we need to forgive those we've harmed, and we need to forgive all those who've done harm to us. And sometimes we may need a little space before we can do that. So I'll talk more deeply about this later. Thank you so much. This is a call and response. So, and you'll catch on by listening to what we're doing and saying, but it's call and response. So when we go like this, one of you will put in the word. It's called peace dance, and this, we're all the ones that are creating the peace. With us, it's in our hands. It's begins with us, it's in our hands. It's in our hearts. With us, it's in our hearts. Pass the time. Pass the time. Peace dance. Peace dance. Peace begins with us, it's in our homes. Peace begins with us, it's in our homes. Pass it on. Pass it on. Peace dance. Peace dance. Peace begins with us, it's in our world. Peace begins with us, it's in our world. Pass it on. Pass it on. With us, it's in our world. Pass it on. Pass it on. Begins with us, it's in our. What's they want to put in? Yeah. Peace begins with us, it's in our speech. Pass it on. It's with us, it's in our speech. Pass it on. Pass it on. It's in our bones. Pass it on. Pass it on. Pass it on. Pass it on. Last one. Our actions. Begins with us, it's in our actions. Peace begins with us, it's in our actions. Pass it on. Pass it on. Peace dance. Peace dance. Peace dance. Cool. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, journey to truth. Journey to truth. Journey to truth. Wow, okay. A long way to go. Journey to truth, really, it starts when we were first born, when we came in the world. We come in here with a purpose, and we don't always know what that is. And it's our job as adults and elders to watch our children and see what they're showing us, to support their path, to see what they're doing, to recognize where they're connecting. And sometimes it's hard because our educational systems aren't designed that way. It's not designed to look at the artist among us, or to look at the spiritual path among us, or to really look at how we're walking in the world. I would like you to just close your eyes for a minute and imagine that when you were born, if you had born, that you could walk around and look at people like, you know, as a child, being lifted up so that you could see people in your community and all the eyes and be able to relate to them, which is why Native peoples put their children in cradle boards so that they would be up. And nowadays, the kind of contraptions that people have kind of mimic that, where you see the children are up and they can see all the community members, and they begin to develop themselves. Think about brain comes in limitless. Actually, we were stunned to learn that the human brain has got all these possibilities, and it gets limited by our social interactions. The things that are not fed die off. So it's amazing what the potential is. And really on our journey, we're trying to increase our potential as much as we can, to begin to think about the world as this magical place with all of these plants and animals that you encounter. Imagine, you know, if you had the time to be able to go with your child and visit all the different stone formations, to talk to the trees, to teach the children that these things are equal to us, and they speak a different language, but we could understand it if we could connect to it. Like to teach them that when they hug a tree or they put their back up against a tree, that you could feel the energy of the tree moving through your spine. Imagine having people to mentor you in that regard, to learn how to listen to all the different languages in the water. And that's the truth of the beauty of the land in which we live. And then it's a journey, because the limitations sometimes get to the place where these things are seen as not equal to ourselves, as cash crops, you know, that could be taken down for no reason. You know, it's very fortunate to see some of the dams coming down now because the dams block the natural flow. It'd be like, you know, Mother Earth is like us with veins and pathways, and that these things are all organized in a way to make the whole healthy. And, you know, we know the consequence when we have blocked arteries or if we have an imbalance, the whole being feels that. To understand that the Mother Earth has that. She has arteries and veins, and they are interrupted sometimes and redirected. And to teach our children on this journey to recognize our rightful place in it is a humble one. We're no better or less than any other creature. And to talk and ask permission for everything we do. And to you know, recognize that even when we take wood and when we have stuff to heat our homes, there's an expression of gratitude that needs to be given and a reciprocity to be spoken. You know, to plant a tree if a tree is taken, to speak to a tree who's diseased and talk to it about its need for the greater good, perhaps, and to understand that every part of that tree will be used to begin to reformulate a world. Because the truth of it is that it's unjust and it's in fact a lie to say that we're better than these things, and to recognize that we are beholden to all these things and we need to have a reciprocal relation to all these things. And when we don't get that we're doing harm to ourselves and to the things that we're using every day. So in the 7 grandfather teachings that teach about this truth, it orients us ourselves along a 7-point star, that we're connected to the cosmos, and even what we do here affects the clouds, like where we put a house. So if we don't understand how to speak to the land and ask it where things should go, that we can put things in the wrong place. I think there were some tribal peoples who came down and said, you're impacting, the trees are dying up on the mountain because of what you're doing here. And you know, it's not a judgment you make when people lose their ability to connect, but it's a healing to go on a journey to remember how to connect with these things, and to go to the people who remember. And even as we speak to you right now, we're feeling like this cool breeze going up and down our spine, because this is the thing that we need to say, that the truth is like a lifelong journey. And but it doesn't start until we're really honest. It doesn't start until we're honest with ourselves, and it doesn't start. And that honesty requires a lot of hard work. It requires not making judgment, not taking things personally. And it requires a recognition that we're going to make mistakes all the time, and to forgive ourselves for those mistakes. We make assumptions all the time, and we make judgments all the time. We know we do. And we constantly try to catch ourselves in that, and take accountability for the things that we've done that are harm. Everybody here has harmed someone or something, and we've all been harmed. So we're in the same place with that. Now, when we look at where we live and we look at our descendants, how we are descendants, if you look at the 7 grandfather teachings and you look at all the animals that are associated, it would be wonderful to put yourself in that place, like the bear and the eagle. We always have an eagle feather, because if we don't be honest with each other, we could fool each other, but we don't fool the being, the creator. We don't fool Gemini-Do. Gemini-Do knows what's in our heart. And there's no way around that. But we could fool each other. And I kind of think we do sometimes. Like we do even in the governments that we have, where many of the decisions are made behind closed doors. And the actual decision is not one we have a full involvement in, because that would need to be done in an open, transparent way, probably in a circle, where every voice could be heard, and everyone would put in their understanding of the issue and how it needed to be addressed. But that's not how it goes. What happens is advisory committees are set up, and we have elected officials, and they don't have to take the advisory committee's opinion. They can just go and vote the way they want. And that happens all the time. In fact, there's an upset when something's leaked. Well, if there was transparency, there would be no need to worry about a leak, would there? Like oftentimes the leak is trying to point out the truth. It's a so-called whistleblower. But sometimes we get more concerned about how it got leaked than we do about the truth of the issue. And this is all in a structure that we're constantly trying to remedy. And from where we are right now, until all the plants and animals are seen for what they give, think about it, they would be fine without us. They were here before us, they were fine without us. And we're the ones that are not fine. We could not do without the plants and animals, but factually speaking, they could do well and maybe even better without us. So it starts with that truth of understanding that we're here because we need to enjoy this creation. We need to let it be in our heart and fill us with incredible joy and happiness. So the pursuit of that is like the biggest truth. If you're not feeling good, if something is, bothering you, or if you've been harmed, you can do it, translate that into a lesson, or what I want to say is like just reframe it into a gratitude that you have the lesson from which you're learning something. And then when you reframe it that way, it becomes part of your spiritual journey in a search for the truth. There is something in there to be had or to learn. And that's really important. And it's hard to live that way when a lot of us have to go to work at, jobs that are like 9 to 5, or people are struggling for housing and they're struggling for food. It's pretty hard to think about these things. One of my teachers wisely told me that if you in your heart looked at things, you could never be homeless. He said that to me, you can never be homeless as long as you're on Mother Earth, because she is the home. And then in you is the home. And then he actually took me around New York City to introduce me to people who had chosen to be homeless rather than be in this system that we're talking about. I mean, he really taught me so many things that were not things I would have ever learned anywhere else. He taught me that everything I needed was all around me. Like one time he got really ill, and we had to stop by the side of the road, and he said, don't let anybody stop for me. And I remember the confusion that we felt because we were upset people were going right by and not stopping. And then we felt really weird about telling people, no, it's okay, go on. And we were like in a tizzy inside about it. But then after a few minutes, he began to tell us, go get this herb, go get this, go get that, all at the rest on the side of the road. Go pick this up, go pick that up. And then he began to chew the plants that he had me go find for him. And very specifically told me which things to do. 15 minutes later, we're on the way. Indigenous people have that knowledge. And some of the knowledge that we have would cure a lot of things, including cancer. But we can't bring it out because in a greedy culture, it would be exploited, maybe synthesized, and then no one would have enough of it, or it would be so damaged it wouldn't be useful any longer, and the plant itself would be ravished. So we say this because this is the impact. We have seen a tremendous amount of healing It had nothing to do with the big pharma or how these things work. So a lot of the things that we do, there are consequences for it. And so it starts with having humility about where we need to go get our knowledge. It starts with humility to looking to indigenous people for how they knew how to live on the land. It starts with the humility of understanding how could people who had just about been genocided out hold space for you in the heart if you were part of the culture that destroyed our way of life. We have so much to do with each other. And when we speak about these things and we look at every single person has a clan, even if you don't know it yet. So we invite you in gratitude for you being here to find what that clan is for you. You may know because animals gravitate towards you. If you look at your body, you have plants embedded in your body. Like right behind your nose and the ethmoid bone, it's shaped like a butterfly. There are things, the lungs, everything. But we all have different clans and we have different expressions. Our 7 wheels is getting to know what they are and how they could be healthy and what animal, what plant is spoken for there in you personally. That is your healthy balance. So it's, the other thing, the wisdom, it's about taking what you know and sharing it, not hoarding it, sharing it. It's a responsibility. It's not yours to own, it's yours to share. So we need to let that go. And we need to teach our children not to be competitive with their gifts, that they in fact came through them to be, they're not owned, they're to be, given out. And when you give it out, it grows. It's all about the giveaway. It's all about living your life like you are a river flowing over the stones. And that particular river in the particular place where you were born is so important. Some of you are here, you've never been to your lands that your ancestors were on. But if you did, the land would open to you and remember you, and it would know you. We know this because we've experienced it in Canada. When we've been on the very land where our ancestors lived, the land opens up. And maybe you've had those special times to be looking for that, because that's the journey to the truth. Who am I? What am I connected to? How am I here? What are my responsibilities to give? What do I have? And if you've been denied finding that gift and you feel it because you feel a little lost, follow that till you find it. And when you hear the children speak about feeling lost, well, if they're going in this educational system, they would be lost because they're being groomed for the global economy to fit into less than who they really are. It's like, so to reframe, to think about if there was nothing owned, you would be able to get up every day and have your whole day. It's a robbery. It's not a truth. It's a robbery that we can't have our whole day, that you have to wait till you retire. When we get rewired, it's like we need to have our day from the day we're born till the day we leave. We need to be able to journey and meet the people we need to meet, recognize them when you meet them, and move and grow with them. If someone is feeling not in their power, help them support to find it. Don't think that if someone is looking like they're doing better, that in fact, if they're not finding, we all lose when some of us don't get to find our beauty. We all lose when that happens. So that's like really the bigger truth here. And, the whole culture teaches us to be better than, to hoard, to collect, to own, to, deny people access, to, and like it seems monumental to try to fix homelessness. When we were younger, there weren't homeless. It was structured in by policies from the US government. I remember it happening. I remember, and these are praised things like economics, when they emptied out the mental health shelters and provided no space for people, no real services for people, no real understanding about what that was really meaning. Because we all don't think the same. We don't all experience the world the same. And that doesn't make us mentally ill. It doesn't make us, less than. It just means that we don't follow a little norm. Like the same teacher I was telling you about, he was able to talk to people who were diagnosed and he could completely speak their language. He didn't need, and they could talk on that level. It's getting to understand different ways of expression. We didn't have any word for mental illness in our community because we knew that everybody was speaking just the way they needed to, and they experienced the world just the way they needed to. And the problem was for us to learn how to connect. So this is like the journey to the truth that I wanted to say, and I'm not sure if I'm going over my time. So yeah, I'm going to wrap it up with that things are not always what they seem, and that the journey to the truth is a magical thing that will transform us all if we're willing to let go.
Thank you so much. Every week in our church, we take up an offering, which gives us an opportunity to exercise the generosity of spirit that supports All Souls and its many ministries. We see this act of giving, of growing more generous in our hearts and our actions, as essential to our spiritual well-being. We will now receive the morning's offering. As while we have some drumming. Yo,
Your way, I, your way, your way,
Thanks. Now it's time in our service for sharing of joys and sorrows. If you have a sorrow that needs the help of this community to carry it, or a joy that's so great you must share it, now is the time. A microphone will be brought to you. And a candle will be lit. Also, if you want to just light a candle on the side and not speak your joy or sorrow, you're welcome to do that. There will be an opportunity later for announcements. So I encourage you to be brief and speak from the heart. And it is a very great joy today to have visitors. And if you are able or interested, willing, we invite you to introduce yourselves. That's not required, but we would love to have an opportunity to welcome you. Now is our time.
Please light a candle of sorrow for today is International Transgender Remembrance Day. Hundreds of transgender, two-spirited, non-binary peoples are executed or die silently from suicide.
Good morning. I'm visiting today. My husband and I moved here about a year ago and was waiting for the church to open so we could come visit. We were longtime members of the UU Church in Reading before we moved here. So it's nice to be in a familiar space. Thank you.
What's your name?
Oh, Louise Ward. Louise.
Welcome. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Jean, Jean Hall. This is for sorrow for the 5 people that were murdered in Colorado, a gay bar, a gay club, and 17 were hurt. And this is just to keep their families in our prayers. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ellen. I guess this is a sorrow that I'm dealing with right now. I lost my voice to some illness and inflammation about a month ago. And although you can hear me now, I can't sing a note, and I'm a singer, so I'm increasingly sad as I seem to not be getting any better, and kind of feeling like I've lost something that I've always counted on and loved. So that's where I am today. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Russ. I have a joy and a sorrow. My joy is that I got to visit Marty Ortiz at the Buckley Health Center this week, and that I had a great telephone conversation with Barbara Weeks, who hasn't been here in quite some time. And we talked about doing something for the 200th anniversary of this congregation. My sorrow, Strong Oak, you reminded me that I was there that night when people came into the church downstairs and spoke so horribly against you. And I regret that my being the caretaker for the church at that time that I didn't speak up more. That's my sorrow.
Hi, I'm Frank. I got a couple of sorrows. A lot of my coworkers have come down with COVID, and that's kind of a bummer. And I'm hoping that they get better soon. And then my other sorrow is I had a trip to the ER at the beginning of last week, and they're concerned about my heart, and that's always a fun thing whenever they're concerned about your heart. And so that's my two sorrows. And anybody else?
I have the joy that even though we've been here before, that we have great gratitude that we've been invited and we've been allowed to share. Thank you. Thank you.
Frank, maybe you can tell us who's with us on Zoom.
Yes, Joan, Emma, Gary, and let's see who else is with us on Zoom. Thomas's iPad. Who's on Thomas's iPad? Jane or Nina? The joy and sorrow online is from Gary. It says, thanks for the pre-surgery well wishes last week. The procedure went very well and I'm recovering well, walking about and feeling pretty good, although tired if I overdo it. Eagerly awaiting being able to get back to my regular activities, still a few weeks away.
I'm Andrew Grant, and I bring greetings from Mount Toby Friends Meeting. I'm here in support of Strong Oak and Visioning Bear. And the last time I was in this sanctuary was for the Anti-Racism Film Festival. Thank you for carrying on that important work.
Good morning. I'm really grateful to be here. My name is Ruth. I bring greetings also from Mount Toby and also from the Hopping Tree Buddhist Sangha in Amherst. I was raised in a UU church, so this is lovely to be in a UU service. And I came to in honor of an opportunity to listen to Strong Oak and to be with all of you.
Good morning. My name is Joanne, and I'm also really grateful to be here this morning. I'm also here in support of Strong Oak and grateful to hear their words and to experience Visioning Bear singers also. I want to share a joy and a sorrow. And that is my mother-in-law has Alzheimer's and is in a care facility in Eastern Massachusetts. And it's been a very difficult road to support her over the last year and a half because we're so far away. So the joy is that we're hoping that she'll be able to relocate only 20 minutes away from where I live so that we'll be able to be there for her. And the sorrow that I'm hoping you'll all help us hold is that it's the right thing to do, that she'll make that transition and understand in her heart that it's out of love. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And Sandra, if you'll like.
We got one more here too.
Thank you. My name is Andrew Jelani. I have a gratitude and a request for prayer. Gratitude for my friend here, Andrew Baker, his wife, Andrea, and their extended family in Shelburne Falls and beyond. I know Andrew for the last 30 plus years. And as I transition for a new place, new job, I am part of their family, and I'm very grateful to them and to this community to where I have been here before also. I originally come from Pakistan, and I was talking with some family members. Some are not well, some are dealing with some other life difficulties, job, no job. So please keep them in your prayers.
Good morning, I'm Rob. I also bring regards from the once Pioneer Valley, now newly named Cherry Hill co-housing community. One small step for our community. And I'd like you, Sandra, to light a candle of sorrow for my Sufi friend Shams, whose grown son is so profoundly depressed, he's in danger of taking his own life. And I'd like to, in the way that the world seems to counterbalance things, also light a candle of joy for the co-housing annual retreat, which happened here last weekend. And right after that, my friend Eric Phelps, who played music here recently, did a CD release concert right nearby at Hawks and Reed. And it was just such a blessed event. The place was packed. All the musicians collaborated really creatively, and I felt deeply honored to be part of it.
Oh, my name is Pam, and I want to just express gratefulness for your honesty, Strong Oak, and your drum group, the whole drum group, Visioning Bear, which just brings the beat of life into the congregation, and also my own appreciation for the congregation itself. It creates a little window into the world and offers us an opportunity to learn and listen. So thank you so much.
And Sandra, you can light a virtual candle maybe for all those unspoken joys and sorrows that we have in our hearts. And I just want to take a moment to be grateful for community, for transitions, to have sorrow for violence and hatred to many of us. I want to be grateful to people who are visiting us today. Andrew, Joanne, Andrew, Louise. And it's wonderful to know that, of course, all the Unitarian churches around here have lit the chalice and are doing what we're doing. So we welcome all. I also want to pray for people who are ill, either surgery or illness, and also the rages of aging on people's minds and bodies. I also want to be grateful for the ability to be heard and to speak out. So blessed be Mary.
The song I'm about to sing is one that I wrote back in 2014 after a member of our drum group died. And so it seems fitting that this will be right after the sharing of joys and sorrows. It's called Never Cease to Be. You can find me if you listen. I really am not missing. I'll be singing in the trees and drumming in the breeze. I will never cease to be. You can feel me in the evening, hear the sound of my breathing. I'll be singing to the moon and playing a new tune. I will never cease to be. You may cry and you may mourn, but I've simply been reborn. I'll be singing to the sun, and I'll never be done. I will never cease to be. If you light your sweet grass and sage and read as I turn the page, my story will go on through your dance, drum, and song. I will never cease to be. I will never cease to be.
Now I invite you all to go in peace, or maybe even stay here for a little while in peace. And we'll have announcements after our postlude. We'll have announcements. For the postlude? Oh, yeah. In keeping with what this church stands for. Welcome to a world of inclusion that will bring its songs. Welcome to our world of inclusion, where all children belong. Way, oh, way, oh, way, hey, hey, hey. Hey, oh, way, oh, way, hey. Hey, oh, way, oh, way, hey, hey, hey. Hey, oh, way, oh, way, hey. Welcome to our world of inclusion. Get no hate and grow. Welcome to our world of inclusion, where only love and grow. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, 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 hey. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey.
We're all within us strong. Welcome to our world of inclusion. Where all children belong. Hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, 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 hey. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, 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 hey. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey. Welcome to our world of inclusion, where everyone belongs. Welcome to our world of inclusion, we see all in peace. Welcome to our world of inclusion, where no one is the least of it. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, 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 hey. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, 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 hey. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey. Welcome to our world of inclusion, where everyone belongs. Welcome to our world of inclusion. We celebrate with songs. Way away, away, hey, hey, hey. Way away, away, hey. Way away, away, hey, hey, hey. Way away, away, hey.
Thank you. Thank you. Announcement time. Molly.
Thank you, Kate. I just wanted to say that soon after church, I'd say probably about 15 minutes, people who are in the social justice committee and anyone else who would like to join us in the Chapman room right over there. And we'll talk about feedback about the film festival and also planning for various activities that Bill and Pam are going to be sharing with us. So I hope people will join us. And thanks for a great program, Strong Oak and Visioning Bear. It was our pleasure to have you with us today. And if you want to join us too, you would be welcome to come to the Social Justice Committee meeting. Thank you very much.
Hi, Russ again. Jennifer and Kate and I are on the membership committee here at All Souls, and Jennifer was your greeter when you came in today. We take turns doing it, but we also welcome anybody who's a part of our congregation, whether you're a member or not, to volunteer to be a greeter sometime. It's not complicated, and it's so important because that greeter is the first person that anybody who's new to the church sees when they come in. It's a great welcoming thing to do. So if anybody's interested, including next week, I have a clipboard back here. Thank you.
Thanks, Russ.
I think we're set.
Oh, Pam.
So included a little bit on the late side, but in your order of worship are Indigenous voices, just a sheet of paper about things that are on Zoom. You can attend many spoken and fascinating stories of people's lives. And you can continue, in a way, this Indigenous travel. And I know that you all didn't get them because you were here before me. So here, you probably have them already, but just in case. So if anybody needs a piece of paper that doesn't have them already, just raise your hand and I'll. Jesse, they're over there already.
Frank, is that some announcement over there? No. All right, I think we're all set. Thank you so much for coming. Stay in peace. Bye-bye.
Well, that was truly a gift.
Hello again, everyone. I hope you all had a good time, and I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. And there you go.
Thank you.